What's up, what's happening? What's up, what's happening? What's up, what's happening? What's up, what's happening? Let me see you shake some, I hit you on your cash out. Let me see you bust some, I get you that new bag, yeah. You know I get you what you want, but just don't post me on your gram. Bitch,
I played a game to win. So when you focus on winning games and doing your job, then you know the things on the side will just come. So if I can just leave on a positive note and leave a positive impact, be more than happy to do that. To be honest though, I miss when the league, when they would wear suits and stuff.
Yeah.
Kept it professional. I always loved.
How are you doing?
Doing great. It's been a good summer so far. You know, I really can't complain. And to be here with you just makes it even better.
Oh, you're making me blush. You're making me blush, Shawn. Man, this has been unbelievable for you, right? Like I know with the going to the Sea Bears and getting that U Sports draft pick. I mean, this is something for you that has to be kind of special. Like even when we were talking when you got drafted, right, and having the press conference and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, just to think that your whole journey, the ups and downs that you've had in Winnipeg, just how rewarding is it to be recognized as one of the top players in U Sports, but not only from any team, but your hometown team?
Exactly. It's definitely rewarding. I've been through a lot of ups, a lot of downs. So obviously to kind of get recognized for the sport that I love, obviously it's makes me feel good. Although I haven't seen the floor yet, I'm still grateful for the opportunity. You know, I'm always going to be grateful and thankful. So, yeah, it's definitely rewarding to know that, you know, my hard work is paying off.
The Filipino community loves basketball. What? I mean, how much of an influence just that, like, you know, you talk about the family and friends and stuff like that, but just like your heritage, your background, how much has that fueled your passion for basketball and even just the support that you get?
Yeah, it's fueled a lot of, you know, my fires growing up. All my cousins played basketball, so they got me into basketball. I know all my friends played. But again, like there were so many, you know, Filipino basketball players in the city who I looked up to growing up. And I was trying to be just like them. So now that I feel like I'm at, you know, that stage now where I can, you know, kind of be looked at from the younger generation. You know, I'm excited to do that. And again, like we talked about, you know, giving back to the community. And there are so many of young Filipino basketball players who, you know, are into the sport. So if I can, you know, help them and guide them to, you know, their goals, you know, I think that's it's going to be a big thing. Because again, we love the game so much. You know, basketball is Philippines. It's the sport. That's the main sport out there. I
don't think I fully understood. Like I knew that it was, you know, big out there, but then when you look at all the like the Filipino leagues around the world, right? Like I mean, Winnipeg. Just was it last year? They competed in Toronto, and it was like all the best Filipino basketball teams from across Canada. It's kind of like a nationals.
Yeah.
Then they go to the big tournament in the Philippines.
Oh there was
like the winner of like represents Canada or whatever.
Yeah, there was that. They did have that. But growing up, there was always a Filipino tournament just like that. Whether it would be in the States or it would be in Canada, but all these different cities would compete for, you know, a tournament championship in 2 days. So I've been doing that since I was a kid.
Well, how many opportunities that bring for you too, just to work on your game?
Exactly. I've been doing that since I was 9.
Yeah.
You know, went to Toronto my first year, Houston my second year. I remember all of this. Washington my third year. And I was like 12, 10, 11, 12. And then every year it was just somewhere different. So
that's what I love.
And there's just Filipinos. It's crazy.
But that's what I love about the game, right?
Yeah.
Like you play.
And the divisions, you would start, it's called Tykes Division. So you were like, I don't know how old you were, like 9, 10.
And you're out like in Washington.
The oldest division was called the Masters Division.
Okay.
And it's like 55 plus.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say like 35 plus.
No.
Wow.
It was like 55 plus.
That's awesome. Just play for the love of the game.
Exactly.
Man.
So there was a, you know, one for each, you know, kind of age. one division for each age, so it was crazy. Had the seniors, which was 32 and above, men's open, which is open to anyone, juvenile, which is for 18, 19, 20-year-olds, pee-wee for junior high kids. So every summer, it's a Labor Day weekend tournament. So I think this year it's in Toronto, I want to say.
That's awesome.
So
man.
every year, just the Filipino community comes together and competes at a high level.
See, that's what I love about basketball as a whole. Like, you just play and it takes you places.
Exactly.
Right? And you're going to find that out, like, even more so. So you said, you want to go to, maybe the Philippines to play professionally. Yeah. I mean, what else do you hope to get out of this? Not even just from a basketball standpoint, championships and stuff like that, a career, but what else do you hope the sport you can get out of the sport while you're playing it?
Right. Coach Mike always bugs me about, me taking this job one day. So I think, again, like giving back to the community and becoming a coach one day or a player development guy one day. Anything to give back to the younger generation is, a big thing whenever I think about, what's after basketball. I feel like that's the main thing.
Let's go back to high school.
So
you're playing for Sisler now, right? You have a great career at the high school level, but you don't jump to the Wesmen right away.
I don't, no.
So what's the interim? What was the time between your last high school game and your first, let's say, even university practice? What were you doing in the interim? How long did that last?
I would be in the gym, like, occasionally playing with my friends or playing in a men's league, but other than that, like, again, like I told you about this, but I was just working every day, so there were months where I didn't even touch a basketball.
What were you doing for work?
I was a car detailer for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So I would just clean cars all day, out in the sun, out in the cold. And then just one day, Coach Mike hit me up, asked me to go to one of his runs, and I was out of shape. I didn't know if it was going to be a good idea for me to kind of go, but I knew that basketball is just the sport I love, so I didn't want to, overthink it.
Yeah, not a lot of cardio and car detailing.
No, not a lot of cardio. I lost all my rhythm.
Did you think though that, like you're playing with your buddies, but where's your realistic idea of like, am I done or am I staying?
Yeah.
Like,
so,
did you think at any moment that this would happen, or that this was like, I'm going to play basketball because I love it, rec league, and just find my career path? To
be honest, like I knew there was a path for me to play at the youth sport level. It was just a matter of, how I was going to get there. I always had a plan to reach out to coaches. But in this case, I guess a coach reached out to me first, and, I didn't take it for granted after that.
What does that mean to you, though, when a coach reaches out to you? Especially, like, again, you're working as a car detailer, hadn't played for a while, and then a university coach comes in and says, like, just, hey, man, come out for a run. Like, I remember you playing high school or whatever it is. Yeah,
it meant a lot to me, especially because I haven't been around the game for a long time. So it made me feel appreciated as well, to know that there's still someone out there who believes in me. So, again, like, I just wanted to go to those runs and really play my ass off. So, I did that.
Progressively, how did you approach that? Because it seemed every year you get better, to the point where you're a walk-on one year, to now you're going into your final year. You've been captain for a couple now, and you hold the U Sports records. Right. I mean, how do you get from that starting point to where you are now?
It's just the vision that I have for myself, and just the love and passion that I have for the game of basketball. I always tell everyone that, like, I knew that I was always good enough to play amongst the best. It's just a matter of, me getting that opportunity to do that. And I put a lot of work and a lot of time into, the sport of basketball. So it really wasn't anything that I was worried about, because you get what you give. Yeah. I live by that. So as long as I gave it my 100% effort, then I knew that, I could live with whatever result was in front of me.
I mean, when you go to Wesmen games too, especially the bigger the game, the bigger the Shawn Maranan crowd.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many people are actual, UW alumni or UW fans. I think they're there to support UW, but number 5 on UW. How cool has it been for you, not only to play at home, but like being with a program that, is, had a lot of success both on the women's and men's side in years past. It's pretty storied. Hometown team. And then you have your family and friends being able to go. I mean, that has to be pretty unique in the sense that you get to play at home and your families get to watch you live often.
Exactly. It's something I imagine, like growing up, being at home. Obviously, growing up, playing in front of my family, playing all in front of my friends. And I didn't really want anything to change as far as, the aspect of that. So it's a dream come true, being at a program in my home city, and as well as being at a program, that competes for, conference championships. So it's been a lot of fun, and, counting down the days before I leave Wesmen. It's been, I've been thinking about it a lot, actually. Obviously, going from a walk-on to, a pretty valuable piece to the team. I'm excited to do it one last time.
Back-to-back nationals trips. I mean, that's a lot of people don't get there once, let alone back-to-back, and now you have an opportunity to do it 3 times. I mean, how much do you weigh not only what you have to do in terms of your goals, what you want to accomplish as a basketball player at U Sports, but even just taking in that university or college lifestyle of the balancing academics with school or with basketball rather and stuff like that. I mean, what are you looking to take out of this year where you really soak it in before it's done? Again,
I feel like it ties together with being around the Sea Bear guys, but being a professional, going to class every day, showing up every day in practice, like every day. We practice every day. Yeah. And it's not always fun. It's not always easy. There's days where you want to be at home. You're tired from all the classes that you've had in the morning, all the stress. Obviously, school is not an easy thing. Mm-hmm. So just making sure that I'm on top of everything. And again, my ultimate end goal is to hang a banner in Duckworth Center. So just doing whatever I can to accomplish those goals. Again, I got one more year to do so I'm going to push myself to exhaustion for me.
Got to jump to the elephant in the room, though. The Wesmen and the Bisons have a heated rivalry.
Yep.
Right? Not friends during the season.
Nope.
But then you got to join forces with Simon Hildebrandt, because I'm sure you guys have played on provincial teams and stuff like that, but now you're sharing the same team that you're on together, playing competitively, not for the province, not for, I guess for the city to an extent, but you're playing pro basketball together. I mean, how cool is that really to be able to share the floor with a guy that you have to, face off against quite often in a U Sports season? Yeah,
exactly. It's really cool. Especially scouting for a guy like Simon throughout the season, and then you get the chance to share the court with him. It's been a lot of fun. Him and Darren are really nice people. They're guys who, I admire as people and as basketball players as well. And throughout the summer, it's been fun getting the chance to know them even more and to compete with them every day in practice. So, again, once the season comes along,
those days are numbered.
Those days are over. Yeah, exactly.
So you look at growing up in Winnipeg. I mean, do you remember when you discovered the game, when you really fell in love with it? Because I know you were really young. You were saying that your dad gave you a basketball pretty much at birth.
Yeah, exactly. I was probably 4 years old. I started playing basketball, and I remember my dad or my mom they didn't put any cartoons on the TV. I had a Michael Jordan DVD that they would always play for me every day, and I would rewatch it. It wouldn't get old. Just watching Michael Jordan every day, and then my dad put me in a bunch of basketball leagues growing up, and I just fell in love with it ever since.
Yeah. How would you say the basketball scene was back then, when you were starting out playing, as compared to maybe what you're seeing now? I mean, clearly the game's come a long way. Both university programs on the men's side are very strong in the city. There's a pro basketball team here now for 2 years, and we're really seeing the uptick in registrations, things like that. But when you're coming up, how challenging was it playing in the Winnipeg market, as a smaller guard?
Yeah.
And I mean, how real was that belief, maybe of having a pro career beyond U Sports when you didn't really have anything tangible to see?
Right. Well, growing up, thankfully there were a lot of Filipino leagues that I was able to play in from a young age. I think I was 7 or 8 when I played in my first Filipino league. So growing up, I was just always able to play it competitively. But it wasn't until late in high school where I kind of pursued basketball seriously, and I thought that maybe I could play at the next level. It wasn't until later, but it's just been something that was joyful for me, and it was an escape for me. So anytime I got the chance to play basketball, like, I was happy to do it.
Did you ever find, or did you even think about it, the exposure of playing in Winnipeg? I mean, it's not, Toronto, BC, Quebec, where, there tends to be more scouts and that. Playing in Winnipeg, I mean, you're 8 hours from the nearest NBA market at that point, right? I mean, did you ever concern about that? How hard was it to get eyes on you?
Yeah, no, I was never really concerned about it because I never really thought about it like that. And I just saw basketball like a hobby, really. Yeah. And I didn't really, look at it that way, honestly.
Do you feel now, like, as it's your job, essentially, right now you have a path to play professionally? Are you still able to hold that sense of hobby, love? Like, I remember asking another guest, do you still have your fan in you, after you start playing professionally and going through that university grind? Do you still have that hobby type passion that keeps it fun, or does it get a little more serious now where it's like, okay, like, it's fun, but there's a new level to it? How do you feel about that?
I mean, for me, it goes both ways because obviously being with the Sea Bears, obviously it's been tough. Never gotten the chance to see the floor, so that makes it a little tougher. Mm-hmm. But then again, I know I have one more season with the Wesmen, so getting the chance to, actually play and run the show, it reminds me of how fun basketball is.
But do you feel kind of weirdly right where you should be in that sense? And what I mean by that is, like, you look at how your career's kind of transcended, right? It kind of feels like you jumped up a level, and it looks very similar to how you started at UW, right? Except you kind of walked on last year, like, for the ability to get drafted this year.
Pretty much.
Do you find that kind of sense where it's like, I might be overlooked a little bit, I'm not getting the opportunity to showcase my stuff? Do you see that as kind of a, hey man, I've been here before, so I know how to deal with this?
It definitely reminds me of, the situation I've been in already. So just a reminder for me to just keep working, to keep going.
I'm not going to ask you, this might be a tough question because I like to ask people, about the inner circle, because there's a lot of stress with it at this level, for sure, right? Like, it's your job now, it's your livelihood. There's a lot of demands you talk about in university. Who do you lean to for that support? Because clearly you have a ton. I mean, you just look on Instagram or anything from the Canada West Championships at the U of M gym. Like, you can tell there's you have a few hundred people there in your corner. But who are the people that really kind of help you through some of the tough times, that might understand what you're going through a little bit more than what you might see on the court or on the stat sheet?
Yeah. I got some close cousins, actually, who I go to whenever I'm in that situation. And a lot of my close friends who have played, at a high level. Mm-hmm. Call them whenever, talk to them whenever I feel like it or I need them. So I'm glad that I have people in my circle who, I can kind of rely on and lean on. So
the basketball community. So you talk about, guys that you played with and stuff like that. Is there anybody, even with the Sea Bears in the last couple of years, that you've kind of maybe brought into that circle that you've been able to turn to for some mentorship?
Mason Borsier, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was a really, really good U Sport player, and obviously he's finding his way in the at the professional level. So, kind of picking at his brain a little bit, and asking him a bunch of questions from even back when we were in training camp. He was one of the guys who I wanted to learn from, and ask questions, as well as Jared, JOJ. He's been a guy who I've looked up to all summer. And another guy who has helped me out a lot too is Justin. Mm-hmm. Justin Wright Foreman. We would play one sometimes, and there was one practice I asked him a question about his Hezi 3, and then he just put me through like a drill for like 15 minutes. And I was like, after I was shooting, I was like, yo, I'll rebound for you next. And he was like, nah, man, I'm here to help you out. So to kind of have guys like that, it truly means a lot.
That's a dude that was a second-round draft pick in the NBA. He's got some time in the show too.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Like, that's, I talk about those experiences, right?
Yeah.
But even that basketball community, like, in terms of, so here's a dude that, say with Justin, for instance, right? Foreman grew up in New York,
Right.
played in the States, really didn't come to Canada till his CBL,
Right.
stint, starting with Saskatchewan last year.
Yeah.
But is there that sense of, yeah, we're all kind of here for the same reason? Like, I don't know you, but I kind of know you just because we're all here for that common goal. Like, does that stardom, I guess, kind of come down where it's like, oh, I remember that guy from, watching, NCAA or March Madness, whatever it may be, NBA.
Yeah.
But do you lose that stardom in the sense that, no, we're all kind of here doing the same thing? You've just done it at a higher level than I have so far.
Yeah, it honestly does. It kind of brings me to that. I don't really think of anyone like that. We all have a common goal of winning a championship, and really I'm just focused on that. So everything.
How would you describe the Winnipeg basketball community, like just at large, right? Like even beyond like the development, but like how do you feel it's evolved since you kind of got into the game? And how would you describe that community locally with the local players, coaches that you see on a regular basis?
Exactly. I actually had a game against I had a scrimmage last night against the 17U Team Manitoba provincial team, and wow, they're talented.
Yeah.
So goes to show that the city is evolving. Obviously you have the vets, Chad, Jared, you have Simon coming up, a lot of local talent, but there are a lot of good younger hoopers who are on the come up. So especially with the Sea Bears, it's good for the younger generation to kind of see it up front, professional setting. So I feel like we're only going to go up from here.
How much do you have to give? Because it seems like you got a lot from basketball here in Winnipeg, and the friends that you made, stuff like that, like beyond just going out and competing. But now with your experience through U Sports and going to a couple nationals now, being with those professionals and just relaying what you said, right? Like you look at Jared Ogabemi Jackson, who you can relate to as a guy who was a smaller guard here in Winnipeg. Yeah. But burst through the scene U Sports route and then played how many years overseas, and now he's back here. You've got a guy with NBA experience, and you've got a guy like Mason who is kind of on the very similar path to you and not that far removed from his U Sports days. Taking into account all of that you soak in from those guys, do you find yourself even more able to help the younger generation now, like maybe more so than you would have been if it's just like Shawn Maranan, point guard of the Wesmen, now that you've got this kind of network that you can maybe help them boost their development a little quicker?
100%. And I feel like I'm at that age now, and I've been through a lot with basketball that I feel like it's kind of time for me to kind of give back to the community. I do have a camp on August 10th and 11th. Nice. So, that's a start. And obviously, again, the talent is growing, the talent is rising. So, if I get a chance to, help them with, their development, I'm more than willing to do so. So
I do the color commentary on the Wesmen game, so I get to see you play quite a bit. Yep. And there's always that time, where come crunch time, we kind of know where the ball's going and who gets the ball at that point. And sometimes you can put on a little bit of a highlight reel. I like to call you mixtape Maranan when you get into that mode. Yeah. Who are some of your influences? You talked about Michael Jordan being one of them at a young age. Who did you really kind of draw influence from as you were building your game?
LeBron. LeBron was one of them.
I'm glad I wore the shirt.
I see it on the shirt.
You see it, my LeBronto shirt?
Yes. Oh, yeah. LeBronto.
That's a buddy. Well, I'm a Celtics fan.
I'm a Raptor fan, so you can't be bringing that up. That was a tough time.
Heathen North back then.
That was a tough time. But obviously, you mentioned MJ. LeBron was up there.
But how does LeBron's game reflect to you? Like, what is it about
his
game?
His IQ. Obviously, you're right. Clearly a size difference, but his IQ, his ability to read the floor, and get his teammates involved. That's really what I picked up from him. He's an extremely smart basketball player. Obviously, we can talk about his athleticism all day, but I feel like he's a pass first kind of guy.
Yeah.
And watching him in his early Cleveland days, he was kind of a guy who I was like, I want to be that guy, that facilitating guy, getting his teammates involved. So there was LeBron, and then there was like Derrick Rose, pre-injury.
Okay. See, I can see pre-injury Derrick Rose a little
floaters,
bit for sure.
Getting to the rim, pull-up jumpers. He was a guy who I loved to watch. Then as I got older in junior high, it was like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I think that would have been most, yeah.
Who doesn't like Steph, right? So his ability to shoot the ball. Again, he's a guy who can get his teammates involved as well.
Yeah.
And then it was like Kyle Lowry, and then I was like took a step back. Like Kyle Lowry, his ability to get his teammates involved, his ability to impact the floor without even scoring, taking charges, making hustle plays, his ability to make threes, and kind of be clutch. He was kind of clutch a little bit. So
yeah.
And then there was Fred VanVleet. So there was a lot of different guys who
I feel like VanVleet's a good one too, because just like his path, right? Like the whole bet on yourself, that, you know, I find he was the one that really kind of pushed that phrase to the forefront, at least in, you know, for basketball fans in Canada.
Yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense, because Steph Curry transcended the game.
Oh yeah.
But that's natural. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that he was doing that, you know, people are trying to emulate now, and it has shifted the game a little bit. But what Kyle Lowry does and what Fred VanVleet does is
they don't show on
work,
the stat sheet,
right?
Exactly.
It's work, and they're, I don't know if glorified role players the way to put it, but like these guys are starters and stars, but still hold those roles and those character plays, right? I like to call them, where it doesn't pop up on the stat sheet, but you disrupted the offense, or you got in the way of, you know, knock the ball out kind of thing if you didn't get the steal or whatever it is. So that totally makes sense. Is there anybody that influenced you like away from the court? Like, who was your favorite player? Like, not even influence. Like, who was your favorite player or players growing up, just to watch? Even if you didn't model their game after it, like you just, they're on TV, I got to watch those guys.
LeBron.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan. I know I didn't see Michael Jordan, but again, I basically grew up watching, you know, all of Michael Jordan's highlights. So
yeah,
definitely those two.
Who's your favorite off the court basketball player?
Off the court basketball player. Right now?
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards.
Dude.
He seems like a funny guy.
Right?
So, high character guy.
I really hope he pans out the way he's going, man, because that guy's entertaining.
He is.
Look what he did with Minnesota. That franchise has struggled forever, man.
I know. Now they're on the come up.
Yeah.
So, definitely exciting.
What do you think of his shoes?
I actually he released a new pair of shoes the other day. I got them yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
So, I like them. I like how they look, but if we're talking about comfort, it's a little questionable, but, you know, we can deal with that.
I like how you're getting into that, because there are two sets, right? There's the shoes that you're going to rock just to wear around, right? Like your streetwear shoes, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you've got the shoes that are practical for basketball.
Exactly.
So, staying on the style front before we get into comfort and all that, do you have a favorite shoe, go-to shoe, or dream shoe even
basketball?
That you want? Just like streetwear though, could be like a sneaker that you just wear.
Any shoe. There's a few. You know who Travis Scott is?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a Jordan 1 low
with the backward swoosh.
Yeah. All black. It's called the Black Phantom, I think.
Oh man,
those are really expensive, but those are a shoe that I would love to have in my collection.
For me, it was always the one that I loved growing up was the Jordan 18. Doesn't get a lot of love.
Jordan 18.
So the Jordan 18 was the one that had the flap over it.
Yes,
so,
I know exactly what that
black
looks
suede with like, it was like the blue trim right here.
Okay.
They looked awesome. I remember when they first came out, we were all like, they looked like space slippers. They were awesome. And they were so comfy, but yeah, they don't see them a lot anymore. But is there a shoe that like maybe in the past that you've used that you really like, or even currently now that's just like, man, this is my jam?
Yeah. Kobe 4s.
Yeah.
I have a few pairs of them. Really comfy. So those are kind of my go-to right now.
How many pairs do you have?
Kobe 4s. I have 2 pairs. I had 3. Gave one away, but now I just have 2.
What are the colors?
One is all black.
Okay.
And then the other one is like green and black. Very bright.
Yeah. I like the green.
Yeah.
You like black shoes, eh? Jeez.
I do.
I feel like I thought, you know, you'd be a guy like, I'm going to throw a little flash point guard, right?
Yeah.
But like you don't really flash much in terms of your equipment.
I don't really want to stand out too much. So
like
I got to keep it basic.
Right? Let's take a look at the fashion of basketball, right? So I always remember like growing up, it seemed like most people just wore like sweats, whatever, right? Your team gear, whatever it is. And I know in university it's probably more team gear stuff, but now you're in the pros. You still take part in those tunnel walks, right? You've got a couple of shots coming out that come out on social media.
Yeah.
You know, how much has that been a part of the lifestyle of being a basketball player? Do you really embrace that side of basketball?
I do. Because I feel like when you feel good, play good.
Yeah.
So anytime I step out of the house, I make sure, I'm confident in my outfit. And then I feel like all that confidence kind of just leads onto the court. So
how much thought do you put into your game day fits?
I don't really put much thought into it, honestly.
No?
Usually whatever's comfortable or whatever I'm feeling on that day, I just throw it on and, be confident with it.
Do you have any like staples or like an element that like this is like every pregame fit, whether it's like I'm just going to rock a tee or, you know, certain shoe, pants, whatever. Like, is there something that like, this is my general look, I'm always kind of just keeping these elements to make sure like that's Shawn Maranan fresh?
Right. Any type of sweats, honestly.
Yeah.
I like to throw on, especially like some plain gray sweats. And I have a black pair too. So those are two that I like to throw on whenever.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm like you. I want to be comfortable.
Yeah,
like,
I want to be comfy.
Right? Like I wear some like colorful suits like at work, but like at home, like, yeah, I just want to be comfy. I was all about the sweats. That was the best part.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the best part of like, especially in school. Like I'm sure it's the same for when you guys like get all your stuff for the Wesmen every year.
Yeah.
Like I was like, man, how comfy are the sweats this year? That was like the only thing
exactly.
I cared about.
Especially like with our season being in the winter.
Yeah.
No way I'm throwing on some jeans. There's no way.
Yeah.
So I got to be as comfy as I can. So just gotten used to that kind of look.
Who's your favorite influence off the court in terms of style?
Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole?
Jordan Poole. He's a guy who I kind of look up to when it comes to fashion.
Yeah?
Because he has like two sides to him. He has like the casual look, the shorts, the sweats. And then occasionally he can throw on some nice fits with some jeans and stuff like that. So I really enjoy his stuff.
I can see it. If you look at eras now, basketball, right? Like going back to however far back you want to go, is there an era of on-court aesthetics that you like the most? So like, because you think of like, the 80s, it was like shorts and like skinny stuff. Then it got super baggy like towards the end of the 90s into the 2000s. Now we're like kind of back to that tight shorts, and then all the compression stuff and things like that. So is there an era for you where you're just like, yeah, that's cool, I wish I played in that era?
It would have been interesting to play in the baggy shorts era.
It
would have been crazy to look at, I think.
That's what I blame my career on. I just played in the wrong era. It was the baggy clothes that held me back, man.
But like you see,
not the fact that I can't jump or shoot. But.
Yeah. Obviously, Allen Iverson is like a guy who inspired a lot of, hoopers to dress on and off the court.
Yeah.
So he's that I feel like his time would be kind of a good time to kind of explore and try out.
He's really tied the culture in.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right, like that hip hop culture and everything
that's
that's
coming back to life.
Right, we knew it was part of it, but you never really saw it like intertwined on television. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, like game day fits. Like that wasn't even a thing, but this guy was showing up with like the baggy jeans, the chains, the do-rag,
headband.
whatever.
He would even wear a headband, like
right. Like to me, like he kind of pioneered that whole.
He did.
Like 100%. What we do now, right? That's like it's almost like expected in professional basketball now, like those shots, but like they weren't those shots. It was just photographers like, look how he's dressed.
Exactly. To be honest though, I miss when they would wear suits and stuff. Yeah. Kept it professional. I always loved when they would come to the game, with a suit. Yeah. Looking proper.
Well, it's super laid back now. Even coaches aren't wearing
exactly.
suits anymore.
Yeah. A lot has changed.
As we look kind of forward now, you have 1 year left of U Sports. You've already accomplished so much. What's left for you to achieve? You talked about the banner that you want to put up at the Duckworth Center, but when you look at this whole year, what's left for you to achieve at the U Sports level?
Well, the main thing is the banner. That's like number one. Mm-hmm. Think about it every day, especially coming short 2 years in a row. It's now or never. Yeah. So the banner is one, and just we have a solid group of guys. So I think leaving, on a positive note, inspiring the guys, and just to, leave there on a positive note, I think is an important thing.
What do you want people to remember of Shawn Maranan, and what do you hope your legacy is as a Wesman?
I played a game to win. So whatever I can do to help Coach Mike, win basketball games, then that's really all I care about. Obviously, it would be nice to average, this and that. But again, all I'm thinking about going into my last season is just trying to get back to the Canada West final, and hopefully off to nationals as well.
So you're not eyeing that 18 assists in one game that you set last year and try to make it 20, eh?
I had no idea I had 18 assists. I think you were the one that told me.
Yeah,
that interview. I thought you were gonna say 18 points.
No,
I mean, you said 18 assists.
18 assists. Like, it was one of those two where I'm like, I know he had a lot of assists, but holy cow, 18.
Yeah,
it was.
See, just winning games is really all I care about. So
that's
if I can do that, then I'll be happy.
All right. Well, you only have 1 year left, and then it's the big, wide professional world ahead of you, right?
Yeah.
And now, I'm sure now it feels even more real than ever before, just because you've been able around professional basketball. It's probably like the shine is worn off a little bit. You feel more like a pro.
Yeah.
So now that you kind of look past the Wesmen and past U Sports, where do you see your career going? What are some of the goals you'd like to achieve as a professional?
Maybe somewhere in Asia.
Yeah.
Philippines is a destination where I could see myself playing in, but we'll see how this last season with the Wesmen goes, and then we'll make a decision from there.
Well, man, you've got a long career ahead of you. Best of luck this year with the Wesmen, man. That's going to be awesome, but
it's going to be
always
exciting.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming by the shop.
Thanks for having me, man. That was awesome.
I can never understand. I get fly with it. Two-tone AP diamonds. I'm in the G63, but the peanut butter sees these shits.